Hi, my name is Madeline Sanji, and I'm a program associate at the Columbia Center on Sustainable Investment, a joint research center of Columbia Law School and Columbia Climate School. Across the globe, various investment projects have negatively impacted both the quality of water and access to water within developed and developing countries alike. These investment projects can be categorized under two distinct camps. The first, water-intensive investments, which span a variety of sectors across the global economy. And the second is the privatization of state water resources and sanitation services. Within this first camp, foreign investment projects span a variety of sectors, including but not limited to fossil fuel, mining, agriculture, and even renewable energy technologies. Industrial use diverts water away from local communities. Mining projects require water-intensive methods, which in water-stressed areas compounds the risks of water shortages that local communities face. Agricultural projects exhaust local water resources and may lead to situations where governments prioritize corporate access to scarce water over that of local communities. The construction of hydropower dams or the presence of geothermal energy projects may also limit local community access or exhaust available water resources. Industrial activity releases toxins and other pollutants into the water stream, generating harmful effects on water resource health and the health of humans and wildlife alike. Heavy metals from mining projects can reach waterways. Pipelines that transport fossil fuels burst, threatening groundwater supplies. The mining of materials required for the energy transition results in acid drainage that pollutes drinking water. And agricultural projects generate pollution through the overuse of fertilizer, herbicides, and pesticides. With regard to the second camp, which consists of projects that privatize state-run water and sanitation services, this privatization risks exacerbating limited access and affordability of water and sanitation services as private companies raise tariffs to maximize profits. When national governments take steps to address any of these issues, instituting regulations or policies in the interest of protecting their water, their regulatory actions are challenged or often completely handicapped by foreign investors' use of a system called Investor-State Dispute Settlement, or ISDS. This dispute settlement mechanism is included within thousands of free trade agreements, bilateral and multilateral investment treaties, as well as in private contracts that countries sign with foreign investors. The ISDS system allows foreign investors to challenge government action that they deem to have violated the terms of the investment agreement through incredibly costly arbitration processes. When an investor's claim is successful, countries are ordered to pay the investors hundreds of millions or sometimes billions of dollars from their national budgets, impacting their ability to use that money for other developmental or public interest objectives. And when it comes to water, ISDS is used by investors to challenge any measure taken to advance or protect the health, affordability, and accessibility of water, as well as enable public participation and environmental decision-making. ISDS and its use with regard to water impacts everyone. It impacts local communities and their ability to access and afford water, as well as participate in decision-making. It impacts policymakers and national governments whose policymaking and regulatory authority is handicapped by the actual and potential threat of ISDS. And it impacts entire countries who are both prevented from regulating and policymaking to protect water and who lose out on massive portions of their national budgets paying out investors. To address this challenge, the international community and national governments need to remove ISDS from their agreements so that governments retain the ability to regulate and that any disputes over water access are heard under domestic judicial mechanisms. By removing ISDS from investment treaties, governments can ensure that they have the capacity to govern and make decisions without worry of the threat of a costly, opaque arbitration. And the removal of ISDS would also ensure that if a dispute were to arise, the dispute can be heard transparently in domestic courts, which would in turn support and bolster the authority of local judicial systems and potentially empower the participation of local communities. These reform options have been submitted at the international reform level in recent years, notably in the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law's Working Group 3 on ISDS reform. Countries at all levels of socioeconomic development should carefully consider whether investment treaties effectively serve their current development interests and needs, especially as it pertains to water, and should coordinate in the actions that they take. Moreover, governments should include local populations in decision-making for investment projects. Building this collaboration requires open and transparent communication across all stakeholders, as well as the critical conveyance of the negative impacts of this system on water in both developed and developing countries. With this kind of collaborative engagement, the international community as a whole, as well as national and subnational communities, can better preserve their right to regulate in the interest of protecting their water resources and ideally have the capacity to better mitigate the effects of climate change and water scarcity. Thank you.